this part of our course, the dance with denial, I think was the hardest part for me to write. Not because of its truth and its very realness, but the fact that it's hard to admit when you are in denial. And it took me a while. It really took me a while to get to the space to know that there is a few things about my child or my children that I have not accepted and that I actually just wanted to change. I just wanted it to change, and I did not want to live with this reality, and I was looking for any and everything to just make it better. But you know what? That's okay. It's okay to feel like that, because I think we all do, and anyone who goes through a traumatic experience, that is your first reaction. It is just that, you just want it to go away. That's the gist of it. So tonight I actually want to start off by speaking about the day of diagnosis. In my book, I also explained it in my story, the way we experienced that day. And I think each and every one of you who have lived through that diagnosis moment can remember it vividly, either because of the emotions you experienced or because of the actual happenings on that day. And I think for any one of us, even, any parent taking their child to a specialist or having the evaluations done or realizing that you need more opinions on how your children is doing or your child, you have certain expectations when you get there. And that expectation is never that it's a mind-numbing diagnosis, right? I just don't think it is. I think you go in there and you really hope, one, that you're wrong, that there's nothing wrong with your child, or everyone else who sent you to a doctor was wrong, or two, that whatever is wrong can just be fixed quickly, made better in a moment. But the thing is, when you have that moment with the doctor and they say the words, it is literally like an accident. Being in a motor car accident is traumatic, right? It's a event. It's a explosion. It is something that goes by which feels surreal. And I can really also relate that was the kind of experience that we had. And even though I had a bit of I had an idea that we might get diagnosis today, still, when it happened, it was a moment of crisis. And I want to read something to you tonight about, sorry, my child is calling me. I'm sure he will realize just now that I won't be there. This part that I want to read is Delene Rayburn. Their child has been diagnosed with blindness as a baby, and she wrote this book, Dragons and Dirt. I just love her writing, and I always read it and I always share it, and I just love the way that she explained her experience the day that they received diagnosis. And I wanted to share it with you because, you know what, sometimes we don't have words to put down for our emotions, and it's nice to see someone being able to do that. So I want to share it with you and just hear what you hear when you hear me read it. I had seen the suffering dragon at a distance, smelt the smoke when it spat fire in other people's lives. But the first time it breathed ugly in my face was when our eldest son, Cameron, was born blind. When I look back on the days and weeks following Cameron's diagnosis, they flash silent and disconnect like slow motion movie scene. People caught in an explosion. Screams, but no soundtrack. Bodies smashed against glass. A shattering catching light. Murray's father's heart broke. I was numb with fear. We would have ripped out our own eyes if we could have made a difference to Cam. We couldn't understand why God, who loves our son even more than we do, wouldn't heal him. Our sweet tiny boy had done nothing to deserve this, and bloody hell, neither had we. The prognosis was devastating. Cam endured batteries of blood tests and sonars and examinations under general anesthetic. Each specialist had a different theory about the cause of the dense bilateral congenital cataracts and microphthalmia. Nothing was conclusive, and Murray would have punched anyone who told him, Jesus wants you for a sunbeam. Isn't that just amazing, the way she explains that and how she can put those emotions down into words? And I can really relate with those, the flashing lights, the broken glass, because it's a numbness that happens, right? And what I want to get to is that moment, and I also say it in the book, that moment when your child is diagnosed, you are diagnosed too, and you have to realize that this is a traumatic event. Unfortunately, because most of the times parents do not get treated for this trauma, you're basically sent off with prescriptions and therapy plans. So you don't really have time to get to grips with what's happening. But that's why I'm here today. I want to tell you went through a traumatic event, and if you feel numb, and if you maybe have been feeling numb for a few years, it is because you are still in trauma. And there's nothing wrong with that. Please know that when people go through trauma, our natural way of handling it is to go through that grief process.